All right. Okay. So, you are so welcome. I'd like to welcome all of you to this career orientation and onboarding. Of course, not everybody is going to be here today, but it's very important that you all are here. And we are going to record this session. And those who are not here are going to be able to watch it later and follow up with what we've been able to achieve today. So once again, you're welcome to LionTech Academy. As you all know, LionTech is an online IT institution. We train mainly in the domains of technologies, and our training programs are 100% job oriented. So we work mostly with with graduates, be it high school graduates or university graduate, and our focus is to help them get into the job market. So to be able to transition from whatever career or whatever thing they may be doing at the moment into, a rewarding career. So our goal at the end of the day is to be able to, to ignite dreams, and actually empower potentials. So that is why we're here today. So I'd like to welcome you all. My name is Elvis, and I am one of the program coordinators here at LionTech Academy, and we are located in Canada, Ontario, right? So we're in Canada, and we offer our programs online so that those who are interested around the world can as well take advantage of the program. So let's move straight to talk about, what is DevOps? Okay, what is DevOps? Why is it important for you as a graduate? Or why is it important for us in this generation to understand what DevOps is all about and the power and the benefits of becoming a DevOps engineer, right? One thing I must let you know is that, first of all, becoming a DevOps engineer, translates you into a world of borderlessness, in the sense that you can make impact from anywhere around the world. So you could be in Nigeria, you're in Cameroon, anywhere you are in the world, you could make impact across the globe. Why? Because this is one of those IT careers or IT path, that is going to, grant you the opportunity to work from anywhere in the world. So let's talk about what DevOps is all about, right? So as you see here, what is DevOps? So if you look at this first graphics here, you see three individuals, right? We call them developers and testers, okay? And on the other side, you have the IT ops. So if you add dev here plus ops, it gives you the word DevOps. So DevOps is a process. DevOps is a methodology. DevOps is a philosophy towards software development. So think about all the applications that you have on your phone today, right? Think about your WhatsApp application, this Zoom application. Zoom is a software, right? WhatsApp is a software, it's an application. In fact, there are lots of these softwares today in the market. So before this software comes into consumption or get into the market, it goes through a process, what we call the software development lifecycle, right? So of course, there need to be that conception part of it, where somebody sits down and imagine something, and imagine an application, just like, the founders or the founder of Zoom, right? Sat down and said, oh, you know what? Can we have an app that can connect families and friends, from all over the world? They could just schedule a meeting, and with a link, anybody can join from wherever they are in the world. That was his thought, right? And then probably he then contacted a couple of, IT consulting companies with this idea. Say, oh yeah, for sure, we can develop this. It's possible, right? Then, of course, the IT company now took the project, took that idea, took the conception, had a further discussion with the founders of this idea and what? Then the developers and testers went to work, right? All of that. So if you just Google search what is DevOps, you are going to see, a lot of insights and articles about what DevOps is all about. So I encourage you to do that. So a simplified answer is so DevOps is what? DevOps is all about working together, right? You can see the right hand is what? The right hand is connected to the left hand, right? So and you can see also what that is, what there's continuous collaboration, right? You see that? So there is that connection, that continuous connection between the left hand and the right hand. Now we can assume that the left hand is development and the right hand is what? Is IT ops. So on this side, we have developers and testers, just like we have here, right? We have what? We have developers and testers. So this is the team that sits down and start writing the application source code, right? So imagine, okay, we want to develop a Zoom application, right? We need people to write the code. So all our Python developers, Python developers, Java developers, they all fall here. When the code has been written, it needs to be tested. And when it's now tested, the IT ops now comes into play, takes it from there and runs the process. But let's see how it goes. Okay. So think of it this way. You have a car, right? So this car is a product. Okay. This car was an idea. So someone said, you know what? Is it possible? Can we manufacture a car for Audi with so and so features? Right. So of course, the guy sitting on the driver's seat could be the customer, but this is a product. Let's see how it goes. Now look at something. If you a chance to visit Audi or Volkswagen, right, to really understand, in fact, to visit their manufacturing plant, to understand the process, right? Like, what does this car go through? I mean, the final product we see, what is the process that it goes through before hitting the market, right? So it always starts from the conception. And then you have the engineers, right? Who now sits down, oh, okay, so from this conception, they need this particular type of tires, this particular type of bonnet, the body structures. So you see, right? So I see the parts. These are all the parts of this car. In the world of an application, okay, we are going to refer to as the source code. See that? So, the wheels, the bodies, the bonnet, the back boots. In fact, all the parts of this car, okay, in the software development world, we are going to refer to this as what? As the source code of the application, right? Or of the product. Okay. So before the car comes to be, see that it goes through a lot of process. But let's move forward and see something. So let's draw an analogy. Let's see how it works. So first of all, car part is code, right? So the car part here is it's like the coding. So I have an idea. I visit an IT consulting company or a developer. I say, oh, you know what? I want an application that can perform 1, 2, 3. Right. So what happens? This guy goes in and start coding the application. So everything, most of the apps that we use today is coded, right? That's why you see the popularity of programming languages like Python and Java has just increased. And most of these applications are developed in either Python, okay, Python or Java. See that? Python or Java. That's the first thing. Give me a second here. See that? Okay. So what happened is we want to develop a car. We know exactly what we want. Then what happened is, so some developers, or in this case, some, auto engineers goes to work and start discovering the parts of the car. Now, the car assembly, okay, is what we are going to refer to in the software development lesson as well as integration. So, for example, right, when we start putting, the tires on the wheels, and in fact mounting, right, building this application, right, putting all of these parts together in our software development process, what we are going to refer to this as continuous integration. Then of course what there is the assembly lines, like continuous deployment here. Now car parts are manufactured using machinery, okay, human dependencies in developing software, of course. So I mean, when we are thinking of developing a software, we need human intervention. We need people, right? We need individuals to go sit down and decide what's the size of this part, are going to be used when and where and how, right? Then of course, no car hits the market without proper testing. The same thing, like an application, right? This Zoom application will not be made available to customers without proper testing. So we're going to refer to this in the software development lifecycle as well as continuous testing or quality analysis. Then of course, after all of this, okay, machines used for manufacturing in automotive industry, there were the same thing like DevOps used to build better software in the software industry. So machines are used to assemble cars, right? Machines are used to make the cars that we drive available to us. So the same thing, right? DevOps will be used to build better software in the software industry. So when you think of yourself of becoming a DevOps engineer, what are you talking about? You are becoming passionate. You want to get involved. In fact, you want to get to the very core of software development. You want to get to understand how an application becomes available in the market, right? So next time you are asked to download an application, I mean, you are not just going down the application as any other normal human being. You are thinking very deep about it. As you go to Play Store to download an app, you are thinking very deep about that process, right? And then, of course, you can see here, DevOps is like the robot, which helps you build better software, just like this robot, right? Now, if you are ever chance, I know that we know chance for those of us in Africa, but those of us here in the West, if you ever find yourself, in the Volkswagen manufacturing plant, you see a lot of automations happening there. Robots actually doing the work faster and more effectively than human beings, right? So the same thing, okay? Then DevOps is like the robot, which helps you build better software. Now, the good thing about robot is that one, they are very fast, okay? So most companies use robots to automate their process, all right, as opposed to using human beings, right? Okay. Okay, so if you want to get started with DevOps, let's make a start. First of all, learning DevOps is like learning to ride a bicycle. You learn to balance only when you are in motion, right? So most companies today, even the ones that have adopted DevOps, they are constantly evolving, constantly learning. Why? Because DevOps keeps evolving. That is why DevOps is a continuous learning process. It's a continuous learning career, right? Of course, you can enroll in this program in 6 months, 8 months, you have a job. It doesn't stop there. That's the beauty of it. Why? Because I mean, developers, the open source community are, discovering new tools, new ways of doing things, right? Day in, day out. So too, we need for us as DevOps engineers to continually learn and adapt to the ever-changing, industry, right? So the first thing that let's start to realize. So what DevOps replaces human task, right? That's just it. Like, so you are going to learn a lot about automation. Okay, this is one of the core benefits that DevOps brings to companies. Now, companies want to be able to automate their processes. Now, when I say automation, it doesn't mean that people are going to lose their jobs. No, it's just, you know what? Instead of us to be doing this thing manually, it's possible for us to write a script, okay, or develop a pipeline, establish a pipeline that can do this for us. The answer is yes. And so if the answer is yes, we can do it, right? So DevOps does that exactly. There are no limit to what you can automate when it comes to DevOps. So be it application automation, be it test automation, be it infrastructure automation, configs automation. You can automate a lot, and this is why companies continue to hire DevOps engineers in fact, day in, day out. Why? Because of the need to go to the market fast, right? You are going to be creating robots. Okay, so in that case, you need to be creative, innovative, and you need to be techie too. So when we say you need to be techie, what we mean is that you need to have a love for technology, right? Like, I mean, so once you think of studying DevOps or anything IT, DevOps is literally right. You need to love technology. That way you're going to enjoy it, right? Step 2, start with a clean slate. What that means is that you don't need to have any IT program to start DevOps. No, trust me, you don't. Why? Because it's a relatively new concept. It's relatively new, and nobody knows it all, right? I've been working out for a while. I've met individuals who have been working for the past 16, to 20 years as DevOps engineers, and we still have issues. We still struggle, we still struggle to solve issues. We still struggle to find solutions to issues in my company, right? So the same thing happens every day. Okay, but the most important thing is keep your past behind you. So it doesn't matter what you have been doing before. That is irrelevant, right? Like, just keep it behind you. So don't tell me, oh, you know what? I'm coming from a literature background, or I've done IT before. It is totally irrelevant, right? When you want to study DevOps, you want to become a DevOps engineer, this is totally irrelevant. So we recommend that you keep it behind you. And again, be ready for change. Okay, be ready for it, because DevOps is all about a change in mindset, a change in process, a change in culture, a change in philosophy. So you need to be ready for change. And again, understand the need to learn, unlearn, learn, and repeat. So that's just what it is. Like, you continue to learn every day. Even at work, we continue to learn. I have a couple of friends that their company is sponsoring them to learn. So you're at work, you are employed, but the company is paying you to learn new things. Why? Because it's very important, right? Your knowledge can become obsolete so fast, like obsolete. Your knowledge can become irrelevant within 3 months. Why? Because technology is changing, it's evolving. It's ever evolving, right? So the need to learn new things. Keep your mind open. Very important. You must keep your mind open, right? You must keep your mind very open. As you get, you get interested and you get enrolled in this program, you must have an open mind. Be proactive. Okay, and You need to drive yourself. Like you need to have this self-motivation. Okay. It's going to help you to succeed. It's very important. Of course, but DevOps brings a new culture. Okay, bring new culture. What you won't have any requirements, you won't be given any designs, you won't be shown any problems. A lot of ideas will be what will be thrown at you, and what you will be called to help. So, in most cases, like I said, right, DevOps is a culture. That's the first thing, and we have established the fact that DevOps stands for development and operations. In the dev aspect, or in the dev spectrum, you have developers, testers, and QA engineers. And what these developers are those who are writing the source code of the application. They're actually coding the application, right? Like developing the application, just like we saw with our car designs. But in this case, right, in most cases, somebody will just throw ideas at you. So somebody can come to us and say, hey, you know what? We are thinking of developing an application, that will serve 10 billion people around the world, and they are located in so and so regions. And what these are the features of the application. And what now, we are left to imagine what the app should look like. So it's a very, very interesting field. Okay, let's talk about the aspect of dehumanization. What from the mantra, any task what should be done only once. So we have a concept, okay, in DevOps that talks about, okay, build once and deploy many. So we don't want to, we want to try as much as possible, to avoid repetitive tasks by human beings, right? So it's preferable for us to have a system, an automated pipeline, or some form of automation that runs stuff for us on a daily basis. So let's say, for example, now, let me give you a very simple example. So every day you get in the morning and you need to check your emails, right? Would it be so wonderful if you have a script that reads your emails for you and just, kind of just forward the most important emails from your inbox to your WhatsApp or to your SMS, right? So you don't need to actually go to your inbox to check your emails. So every day, let's say by the time you wake up in the morning, 9:30 a.m., right? You have what? You already have the most important emails filtered for you and sent to your WhatsApp. So you never have to hit your inbox to go check emails. So what this happens on a daily basis. So it is automated for us like every day. It is the same thing like setting up a reminder, right? If you set up a reminder, let's say you want to wake up 9 a.m. every day, you could automate that. So instead of doing it like you want to set up the alarm every night against each day or against the next day, you can set up the alarm for the whole year. So you can see every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So what that means is that as long as that alarm is active, right, it's going to wake you up every of those days at a specific time. So you don't need to even worry yourself going there over and over to set the alarm again. That's what we mean by any task be done only once. Start by writing small scripts to automate any tasks you would have loved to do manually. There are a lot of things that we do manually at work. Okay, that DevOps is, we can automate this automation, right? It says if it can't be scripted, document it. That's why documentation is a very, very important aspect of DevOps. The challenge should be the second time you have to do the same task, it should take 10 minutes less time than the first time. So let's say, for example, okay, you were trying to set up your alarm. The first time it took you 10 minutes. The second time, according to DevOps, it should take you 10 minutes less. So 1 minute, right? Why? Because you have learned from the first experience, okay? The second approach or the second attempt shouldn't consume you as much time as the first time. Step 4, okay, is to understand the fundamentals. DevOps is here to what? To automate nearly everything. So this is why they want to hire you, right? Because companies want to automate everything, and that's why you learn a lot about automation. Okay, from day one of this program, in fact, you will become an automation expert, because you'll be able to understand the very fundamentals, the very basics, okay, of DevOps. But what? You can start with some tasks which are bare minimum needs of what? Dev automation. Okay. So of course, our next few slides will explain these concepts. Let's go ahead. Okay. So we are going to learn a few concepts in this program. And what the very first concept is versions control. So versions control is like, for example, so let's assume that someone sends you a picture, right? Let's call that picture version 1. And then you go on that picture and probably, let's say, for example, you go and you kind of edit it, okay? Have you discovered that each time you edit anything somebody sends to you, you are being prompted to save it again? Now, once you save it, what happens? You have what? You have altered the original version of that object, and then what? The new object becomes a new version. Because let's say, for example, now, if you just highlighted something there, or maybe maybe like highlight or probably point out an error, and you send it back to the person, it's no longer what the person sent to you, is what is now a corrected version of what should have been. So what that becomes a different version. So versions control, GitHub, these are all concepts that we are going to study and study them very deeply, right? So keep in mind that what versions control can also be applied to infrastructure, configuration, and databases, but this can be studied in depth, okay, in later stages of your learning and implementing DevOps. So again, like I said, right, DevOps is a continuous learning process. You can never study DevOps in 6 months and know everything, right? But we try to make you employable to become a DevOps engineer in less than 6 months. That is the goal. But as you get higher, okay, you soon discover a different world. Sometimes it's even more simplistic than what you studied, or what? Sometimes it could be a little bit different from what you studied, okay? So of course, the other concept is the continuous integration concept. It says what? It enables early detection of problems in the integration. It includes what? Several components, like what? Explain further. Automated code review, automated code analysis, okay, build tools, automated unit tests, and what? And automated integration tests. Now, this alone gives you a job in the company as a QA engineer. So you find yourself working for a DevOps team, and that team is going to have QA engineers, right? QA engineers, this is what they do. So after the developers have written the source code, right? Well, we must be able to automate code reviews. Now imagine you have 1 million lines of code with about 100,000 unit test cases that have been written, right? It's not possible for us to manually, okay, validate the 1 million lines of code. So do we have tools that we can use to automate this entire process? The answer is yes. And what? That is also what led us to the continuous integration concept. Of course, when it comes to automated code review and analysis, we are going to study what tools like SonarQube, Codacity or Codacy, JArchitect, and what CodeClimate. But SonarQube is the most popular in terms of what is used in the industry, right? So what? We don't just go by the dull title. This is quite interesting when implemented. It keeps what the developer's code on track and reduces code quality issues. So tools like Gerrit can be used for setting up code review process. So we go through the concept and explore the tools listed below. So for example, what we talk about, static code analysis, lean tools, SonarQube, okay, and all of that. So think of code quality analysis like, let's assume that you run a bakery, right? You run a bakery and you supply bakery products like cake and bread, to supermarkets, right? Nobody would just want to just get in there, mix the ingredients and just start baking in big quantities without actually testing, right? You need to test, because if you end up supplying, wrong bread, what happens? It's wrong business, right? You're going to lose your customers. And when you lose your customers, you're going to lose money. Okay, it's very important. So when it comes to build tools, okay, we're talking about tools like Maven, Gradle, and Make and MS Build. So what build tools convert source code to binaries, create executables jar, can run tests and create what documentation. And what listed below are some popular build tools. So these are all tools that we are going to study and look at them very detailed. Okay. Artifact, like artifact management repository. Okay, artifacts that were generated as a result of the build. They can also be called application or executables. Artifacts are also what? Are also those libraries needed by the build called dependencies, or we need to control the version of the dependencies. We need to manage the releases of the application. Hence, artifact management is important. So when it comes to what, there are tools that are used to, okay, to what, to implement artifact management repository. So in this case, what you hear about a tool like artifact, PAAS stands for platform as a software, okay, offering, and what we have Sonatype Nexus. So after that, we'll look at another very important tool called the CI server. The CI server, what this is like, this is our automation server, or our robot actually. All right. This is like our robot in the case of the automobile industry. But the CI server here, we're talking about Travis CI or Jenkins or Shippable. So Jenkins is like the tool that automates everything for us, right? That automate our automated code reviews, automate the unit test cases, the static code analysis or automated builds, everything can be done using the CI server. So you are going to learn something like Jenkins. Then of course, we also have some other automation concepts called configuration management. You hear a lot about these, when you start talking about infrastructure automation. So just like you will not be in this meeting without your phone or without your laptop, okay, no application will run without some form of infrastructure. So it's very important for us to understand that process. Okay, and of course, the following are the most popular CM tools. So CM CM stands for configuration management. You'll see this a lot as we proceed. Okay, so we have Ansible, we have Puppet, we have Chef. Then of course there is continuous delivery. So this is now the point where we are actually taking the application to the market, making it available maybe on the web, where customers or our clients can log in and use our services, or on the Play Store, right? So this is called continuous delivery. When we get to Jenkins and automations and all of that, you're going to understand, okay, the very cool concepts when it comes to CD. So CDA can stand for two things, either continuous deployment or continuous delivery. Says what? CD is a natural extension to CI. Teams can ensure that every change to the system is releasable and that any version can be released at the click of a button. See that? Release management. So when talking about release management is, okay, how often do we want to release our new versions to the market, right? So with the concepts that we have learned so far, you will realize that we will end up with many versions of the release. We want to release the right version frequently and get feedback about how it performs. So this is release management. So say for example, you have prepared a cake, or the bread. You have about 5 different versions of the bread that you have produced. Maybe one with more sugar, another one with moderate sugar quantity, and the other one with no sugar quantity. Those are all the release of a bread, right? I mean, bread version, what the different versions of the bread, but which one do you want to release to your customers, right? So releases are often done, according to a schedule. So you find yourself in your team, and in every company, most likely they're going to have a release manager, who actually schedules when new versions of an application or update should be released. So very important. So what we want to release the right versions frequently and get feedback about how it performs. So when we talk about release and get feedback, who are we getting feedback from? Of course, is from our customers, right? We are getting feedback from our customers. Okay. From our customers, we are going to get feedback. So a good example is, let's assume that you run a hotel, right? You run a hotel and your customers are able to, or should be able to, to get on a website, select a room and select their dates and, do their payments and receive confirmation numbers and notifications. So let's assume, okay, after we do a release, okay, the clients goes on the website, they are able to do everything, but the payment is not going through, right? So what? They say, hey, I know you start seeing them give feedback on the application. Say, oh, you know what? This is not working. It looks like there's a bug, something is broken, my payment is not going through, or I made a payment and what? I have not received any receipt yet, or I have not received even any notification with my confirmation number. See that? So that becomes a very serious problem, right? So that feedback comes in, and then what? We go back to our developers, we look at the code, look at what is broken, they fix it, and what it goes again through our CI/CD process, the continuous integration and continuous delivery or deployment process. So what? The solution to deployment and release management differs for every use case. That's it. So you can work for a company A, company B, and what? They all have their own different release processes. After we've deployed our application, the most important thing that we left is monitoring of the application. Okay, so application monitoring and systems monitoring are one of the important tenets, okay, of DevOps. So you hear of tools like Elasticsearch, Firebase, and Kibana. Okay, there are tools like New Relic, Server Density, Datadog, and Zabbix. That's why sometimes most of us are on call, right? When you work for a company, okay, most of the time you're going to be on call, providing monitoring service of the application. Why? Because we want to make sure that our application is actually performing the way it's supposed to perform. But things can go wrong at any time. So in order for us to stay proactive, we must monitor. And so these are all tools that we are going to study as part of your experience with monitoring. And this is why it's so easy for you to learn a DevOps job. Why? Because as you go for an interview and they ask you, what monitoring tool have you used for your projects? See that? You can mention Elasticsearch, Firebase, and Kibana, New Relic, or DD, or Zabbix. So of course, we could have a demo like this, but not for today. Okay, so the fact is, you are about getting into a very serious career, and I encourage all of you to stay very, very excited. And as we move deep into this program, you're going to understand, in fact, you're going to love it, right? So very, very important. I don't know if anybody has a question. Please, if you do, feel free to ask. Okay. So if you don't have a question, let's see what we can do next. Okay. So now that you don't have a question, let's stop this first recording and we're going to move on to, so what, let's stop the recording here.